first of all, I've been a huge admirer of your work before Ishq Vishk Rebound. I've seen your Marathi films, Nivasant
Oh,
Rao, Baap Janma, and I
oh,
also
lovely.
got a moment to catch 1, 2, 3, 4 last year at Mami,
Oh,
and
wow.
it was
I have watched the original Ishq Vishk when it had come out. When I was, just about to go to college. So I have some extremely fond memories associated with the original Ishq Vishk as well. I think in all of filmmaking, I really, really like the process of sound design. I really enjoy it a lot.
what is your idea of love?
I'm still figuring it out here. I mean, I know I'm married with a kid and I shouldn't be answering this, but
Hi Nipun, Shreyas this
I
side
should.
from Cinema Express.
Hi.
And first of all, I've been a huge admirer of your work before Ishq Vishk Rebound. I've seen your Marathi films, Nivasant
Oh,
Rao, Baap Janma, and I
oh,
also got
lovely.
a moment to catch 1, 2, 3, 4 last year at Mami,
Oh,
and
wow.
it was just lovely.
Oh, thank you
And
so much.
I want to start just with that. You've had multiple releases recently. Lumpen released last month.
Yeah,
Ishq Vishk Rebound is releasing on this month. Next month
yeah.
there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So how does it feel?
It's very exciting at the moment, but I'm also afraid of the void that is going to be created in my life in about a month's time, because these were projects that I have been working on for the past 2.5, 3 years at least, and you plan your life, you plan your work in a way. Thinking कि ये अभी आएगा फिर ये आएगा, then you have things scheduled that way, but I mean, whoever I've told that suddenly Lampan is in May, Issues is in June, and 1, 2, 3 was in July. Especially those in our industry have laughed and said, "This is how our industry works. Just take it in your stride." And yeah, I mean that's what I'm doing.
Wonderful.
I'm just enjoying for these past 2, 3 months, and at the same time I'm also shooting for another web series. So it's been a little crazy, but I think it's looking back, I know it's going to be a lot of fun.
Wonderful, wonderful. Starting the conversation on Ishq Vishk Rebound. First of all, how did
Hmm.
you become part of the film? What was that journey like?
It's all thanks to Ramesh and Jaya, the producers of the film. They were looking to make a sequel of Ishq Vishk before, and they were looking for ideas what all could be done if something can be done with the original characters of the original film, or and that is when they watched a Marathi film of mine called Dappa, and
Yeah,
basis that they had called for a meeting, and they were very gracious, and they said that we would like you to direct this film, and I was very surprised, and it was quite amazing actually, because I have watched the original Express when it had come out, when I was just about to go to college. So I have some extremely fond memories associated with the original Express as well. As an audience, I was the correct target audience for that film, and to be able to get associated with a brand like that, and tell a story was amazing. So obviously, I said yes. It was a different genre. It was a different experiment for me, and I said yes, definitely, I want to try this. So we worked on different stories. My friend Akash Khurana was very instrumental in all of this, and at one point of time when things with a few stories were not working out, one idea that Jaya hit upon was that the original Ishq spoke about the youth at that time and introduced these new actors, new crop of actors. So why not do the same with this new Ishq and try and tell a story about youth today, about relationships today? And she had this idea of a rebound relationship. How we label our relationships these days. We have a label for every relationship, and she got in the writers, and they cracked the story, and then later joined that process to improve upon the improve matlab to write the screenplay in a way that I wanted it. And I guess once we had a solid script in hand, a script that all of us were happy with, we started deciding on who should we cast, and that's how the
Hmm.
casting process began.
Right. We'll come to that. First, I wanted to also mention the trailer of the film. I saw the trailer,
Hmm.
and something that's really stuck out for me were the visuals, and that is something that is a pattern in all of your films. The visuals really stand out. I could see some grainy vintage visuals. There is some experimentation done with lighting. So, how do you come up with the visuals for your films?
I mean, it's filmmaking in general is a collaborative process. So many people are involved right from the word go. So it is a combination of what I think, how my discussions with my DOP Milind Zog happens, how my production designer Nikhil Kowai converts them into sets. So it's a combination of all three, and of course the approval of the investors, the producers, the creative. They are also creative people at the end of the day, and so all of the this collaboration comes together, and yeah. So I mean, one thing was for sure. Like for example, in the film, there is a constant bougainvillea that you'll be seeing, and
Okay.
that is something that we noticed when we had gone for recce at Dehradun. So when we went there, suddenly there was this massive 50 feet bougainvillea tree that I saw, and that was the first visual of Dehradun that I will not forget. I had gone there for the
Hmm.
first time. I
Hmm.
said that if we are setting the story here, and it is a love story, I would like this to be a part of most of the visuals, and that was incorporated in the script, and that's how we proceeded further. And I think the most important thing is that for a youthful film about the youth, I think in general visuals are important, but they have to be fresh. We have to offer something new every time, and that's the constant endeavor, I think.
Right. And what were the discussions that you had with your cinematographer for this? Like to
So
come up with the
um,
frames.
so one thing, we spoke about colors at length, that and how bright we want them, how but at the same time not pop up, let the colors pop too much. And apart from that, I think one thing that both of us agreed upon was using wide lenses quite a lot,
Hmm.
and trying to show more and more information in one frame. So those were the kind of discussions that happened.
Right, right. And when we're talking about visuals, something that is not seen in much films is the sound design. We don't see impeccable sound design taking place in many films. But in your film, that's not the case. In Me, Vasant Rao, that was something that really stood out for me as I was watching the film. The sound was like it transforms you to a different place. So, uh, how do you process that? How do you think that we need to make our films sound this way? What is that experience like?
I think I believe in, or rather, whatever I've done till now has been realistic,
Hmm.
the cinema, and that is what I'm drawn to mostly. So whatever we hear in our everyday life, so whenever you're seeing a scene, you try and imagine what must be happening around this scene as well, and try and explain that to the sound designer. And of course, I mean, the sound designer also has his own capabilities and his set of ideas. So it's always a healthy discussion, and the endeavor is always to make the scene sound as real as possible, and at the same time use sound in some scenes wherever necessary to emphasize the mood as well. Not
Hmm.
just make it the real thing, but also sometimes, when even in real life, when you are in a tense mood, sometimes the sound blacks, it just goes blank. Use those things more. So I think in all of filmmaking, I really like the process of sound design. I really enjoy it a lot.
we can see that in the films that you make as well. Um, Coming to Ishq Vishk Rebound, and as you said, it's a modern retelling of relationships. So, what is your idea of love?
I'm still figuring it out here. I mean, I know I'm married with a kid and I shouldn't be answering this, but at the same time, because what has happened is through as we are growing up, the influence of cinema and books is so much that we have been told what the idea of love is. We've been told what the idea of a relationship, friendship is. And we tend to believe that, like, when you are like 11, 12 years old and Shah Rukh Khan says that प्यार एक बार होता है, okay, प्यार एक बार होता है, you believe that. But as you start growing up, you start realizing that nahi, it was that character speaking. It was maybe something that is happening with him, and your life is different. So it depends on person to person. But from what I've realized till now is that someone you can more than you just know that that person is there. The physical presence doesn't matter. You
Hmm.
know that you have that pillar in your life, and you can turn to that person whenever you need it. And I'm glad that I have that person, and one more person now with kid.
And do you think that simple love stories are kind of disappearing from Bollywood?
But at the same time, I would say that simple love stories also are they disappearing from our lives as well. So that is also one thing that we should think about. After a point of time, cinema does become an expression of the society. So that is something that we need to think about.
Right, that makes complete sense. Just last couple of questions.
Hmm.
First is to talk about the casting of Ishq Vishk Rebound and how
Hmm.
did that take place? How did you decide upon having these four actors? And yeah, then I'll move on.
So Rohit, I had worked with
Yeah,
before,
four mismatch.
and I know his capabilities. He's a wonderful actor. He's a very good human being. And when this film was written and I was reading it, I felt that he'll be a fantastic Raghav in this. And so that we approached him. Even he liked the script. So of course for Rohit it was a different process, and all the other three leads they auditioned for their roles, and it was after their auditions that I got to know their backgrounds later about with Pashmina as well and Gibran. And Gibran, it was actually very funny. I think I had like just a small window during that time. I was doing something, and I had come from Pune. So I started the auditions at 7 a.m. in the morning. I had around 12, 13 auditions that I was only conducting.
Okay.
And Gibran was the first one. So he was surprised ki who calls at 7 a.m. But of course, he was extremely, if you know Gibran, he's always energetic and always, raring to go. So he was like that also at 7 a.m. And during his first take of that audition, he fumbled quite a lot, and he
Oh,
knew that he fumbled. So he said,
okay.
Sorry, this is 7 a.m. thing happening, but sorry. Let me just give me one more chance, one more chance." And in general, I was not judging anyone in their first take. I was going to give everybody two, three takes at least. So the second day he was wonderful, but I think it was his thing that happened in between where he said that no, please, I want to do it once. That is where I realized that maybe I he is right for that character more than his dialogues. It was his attitude during these two takes that actually drew me towards him. And Pashmina was wonderful in that audition. It's a difficult role, Sania. Once you watch the film, you'll understand. It walks a very thin line, and it was very important that you find the right person to do that. And I think Pashmina fit the bill very impeccably. I don't think there was anyone else that I saw in that role. And for others, I had like a small short list. But for that Sania's role, I think it was only Pashmina. And Naila too was, I don't think I auditioned her as well. I mean, we sat down, we were having a discussion about the character. I got to know what she had done before and everything. And I think during those discussions only, you get to understand the sense of a person, you get to
Mm.
understand the vibe of a person. And
Yeah,
I knew that she was the correct cast at that time.
right. Just one last question. You've worked in the Marathi film industry for the past few years. You recently ventured into Hindi films with Mismatch, and now making your film debut with Ishq Vishk Rebound. So, how would you describe working in both of these industries in general? What are the differences? What are the challenges?
I think both have their pros and cons. I know it's a diplomatic answer, but still, I mean, at one place you have say an audience, say in the Marathi film industry, you have an audience that is ready to look at experimental films, go watch them in the theater, something. You have that freedom, but at the same time, to achieve that freedom, you need to take a massive budget cut. You can't go on spending a lot of money on films
Mm.
like that. Um, and at the same time, here in Hindi films, I get to offer something to a wider audience, something that will be watched from Chennai to Srinagar, and the Marathi films won't get that kind of an exposure. Not every Marathi film will get that kind of an exposure. So you're trying to speak in a more universal language and a language that more people understand. And also, when it comes to, I think Marathi films, it can get in a way restricted the subjects, something that only people living in Maharashtra, or even maybe when it comes to me, the urban centers of Maharashtra will understand. Here, I think more and more people will get to watch my work, which is always a plus.
Perfect. This was such a lovely conversation, and I wish you all the best for
Thank you, Shreyas.
Ishwish Rebound and your future
Thank you.
projects.
Thank you. Thank you, Shreyas. Means a lot. Thank you.